Well, you just said sort of sparked a question. I mean, any religion in its beginning is sort of controllable just from the amount of worshippers there are. And Islam now is just outrageously huge. I mean, have there been, discussions or problems with, as far as like the Hajj? I mean, it's just so cumbersome now than it would have been, 500 years ago.
The Hajj. The Hajj is overcrowded. Until 50 years ago, only about 100,000, 200,000 people did it. Nonetheless, I've done it 3 times, and it's not intolerably overcrowded. You just have to know exactly the times to go. You go at 3 in the morning rather than at 4 in the afternoon when everybody else is going. Or you do the tawaf on the roof rather than trying to get close to the Kaaba. And the Saudis do try to restrict numbers. They impose quotas on different countries. Like every year, only 100,000 people are given visas in Nigeria, for instance, and it's a similar number for Bangladesh, etc. And sometimes those countries also impose quotas because it's bad for their balance of payments to have lots of people taking money out of the country and spending it in Mecca. So there are attempts now to put a lid on it, but theoretically the Hajj could accommodate a lot more. Was that what you wanted to know? Yeah.
I mean, just from a Christian perspective, it made me think that a lot of the theology or the practice, the larger you get, the more, in some ways, away from the kernel, the truth, the simple truth. So I didn't know if that's happening, through the years.
One of the interesting things about the basic practices of Islam is that although they were framed within the context of small Arabian communities in the 7th century, they are all perfectly practicable today. And the Hajj is an example of that. In fact, it's easier to do the Hajj now than it was, say, 100 years ago, because you have dozens of little health clinics there, you have an airport, you have air conditioning in tents, and you can do it in style. You can live in a villa in Muzdalifah instead of a tent if you want to do that. So I think it's become easier for a lot of people than more difficult. And Muslims would hold this up as one of the proofs of the eternal validity of the religion, that despite its specific 7th century Arabian origins, it still works today, and that you can practice it in Albuquerque, New Mexico, really just as easily as you could in 7th century Medina, despite sometimes the complexity of its rulings. I think perhaps that's enough, and I'm feeling a bit hollow. I don't know about you people.